My name is Jaakko Jahuiainen. I come from Solibri in Finland, and Robert asked me to discuss shortly something about IFC, and especially OpenBIM, since I think I'm very much in the middle of the OpenBIM community here at Arkitekter for Arkitekter. If we start with the current situation in Nordic countries, Statsbygg in Norway will have their BIM manual out quite soon. And what they speak about is OpenBIM, but they really mean IFC. In Finland, we have had BIM requirements published by Senaatti Properties, which is the government-level facility manager. I think what is most interesting in Finland is that Senaatti Properties had the idea that they would upgrade their BIM requirements and guidelines. In practice, this means that in Finland we will have, as the first country on earth, we will have national BIM requirements. So from the architect's point of view, there will be something that is most beneficial. There will be what we call buyer's guide. Building owners and construction companies, they will have instruction how to buy BIM services. In other geographical areas, UK is sort of getting started. Her Majesty's government are preparing a BIM strategy. In the US, the federal level GSA, they have had BIM guidelines for about 10 years. In Korea, we have lots of guidelines and requirements. And it's really good to see that Sweden is sort of coming a bit behind. We heard about Locum. Skanska is very deep into BIM. And I know that Peab and many engineering and architecture companies are also. So I think this is a good development, and I was especially happy to see Link tell about how they feel about BIM and how they sort of approach this problem. It's not about software, it's about the process, it's about the competencies. And in this way, I think the approach was very mature for an architect office. Yeah. So the COBIM is basically a continuation to what Senaatti Properties has done. And the real business value is that when we have one set of guidelines and requirements, everyone in Finland will know what to do. Link showed that the BIM process is required, and they also said, I think Lars said something, that you have to get things really right. Yeah, and that's about the quality. And of course, the coordination and communication is most important. So the old way, it doesn't work. We have to get rid of this. And this is, of course, one of the things we try to avoid when we use BIM and quality control. Of course, there are much more other benefits than we can see in this picture. We have better design, we have better facilities for the end users, we have something that will probably be more friendly from the environmental point of view. So basically, BIM will be able to help in most of these things. The traditional way in complex things has been that we make a prototype. And if we sort of think about manufacturing industry, they would make prototype after prototype, and then they would get the production process right. And this is something we haven't been able to do in the construction industry. So things are getting better. This is what we used to have in 1970s, even 80s, when we did, for example, structural design. But today, with the use of computers, we can basically sort of get about the real-life prototypes. But this will have tremendous effects on the quality of design and, for example, construction costs, environmental issues, and so on. One word about Solibri Model Checker. I always want to lift up one thing, and that's today. It's the rule sets in Solibri Model Checker. Someone will have requirements. Locum will have a BIM manual. Stasbook will have a BIM manual. We will have accessibility requirements. They are quite complicated. Okay, but then at the bottom, if we go to the bottom of things, BIM requirements are usually very simple and easily understood. And this is where actually Solibri Model Checker comes in. It's about analyzing BIM files. For example, in the United States, there is a building code, Americans with Disabilities Act. And they have this definition that in an accessible space, you should have a 16-inch turning space. And in Solibri Model Checker, we have this rule, 603.2.1, called turning space. So someone has a requirement, and Solibri has a rule. So in practice, what this means. Okay, this is a building. It's very boring. It's probably a federal building by the federal government from the United States. And here we have done some analysis of the model. For example, accessibility. Solibri Model Checker has detected that if we have the doors open, this corridor does not fulfill the requirements. Or this ramp outside the building, it's too steep and it's too long. And the rises in this stair, they are too high. And in practice, what Solibri does the checking. We have one rule, and we run the check. Okay, now you can see the progress bars, and very soon it's done. And the results are visible here. And Solibri Model Checker has detected that we have this space. Okay, and let's hide the space component. And let's take the space and the related components together. So basically, we have space. We have what we have here. We have turning space. Solibri has detected that there is space only for the green turning space, while the red is required. And if we add this other component, it's quite clear what is the problem. So BIM analysis and Solibri Model Checker is about fulfilling requirements and finding these things before they are built. And this will make production and construction more productive, and we will have better facilities for the users. Okay, thank you.